may have a certain focus of yours that may not necessarily be safety. So you can substitute, the word hazard for, quality exposure or losses in the productivity. You can substitute about any word that you want. I'm going to be using safety related words throughout the presentation, but it applies, nearly to everything. And but the reality is most hazards have existed for a long time, and we just learn how to work around them. We, sometimes a hazard does develop overnight or in the last few minutes because conditions have changed or a circumstance has introduced itself. But in most cases, most of the hazards have been there, and we habituate, we get so familiar with them that we just no longer see them. We never really think about the seeing portion. We think a lot about the what. For example, if we're leveraging the energy wheel in order to be able to, drive hazard identification, we're very familiar with the what portion of what hazards might be as categorized by that energy wheel. The thing we don't really think about is now how do we see them? So we've got the what, but we also need the how. And the how is how can we look at things in a structured and disciplined way so we break through the familiarity of what's around us and we begin to see things anew. If we're really going to optimize our capability and our competency in terms of execution and excellence, that it's not really enough to know intellectually what hazards or anything else is. We must be able to see them or see the absence of them in the workplace. If we don't see it either in action or missing, then the intellectual knowledge that we have is really not achieving everything that it should achieve. We've got the book smarts, but we may not have, sort of the field smarts that are necessary. And it's those two things together that give us the opportunity to be really excellent in the things that we do. And I'm going to ask just a rhetorical question, and that is, if you think about something that you've done over the past couple of weeks, maybe it was a task in the workplace, maybe it was, getting your lawnmower ready for spring, maybe it was, one of 100 things, but just think about, one of the tasks that you've completed and how important was being able to see the work you were doing to being effective in getting it done and getting it done particularly safely. I think we all realize that, we all see things a bit differently. How we take visual stimuli and convert it into meaning is largely influenced by our experiences, our expectations, and our biases and beliefs. Those are the things that the brain utilizes to be able to present something to us that makes sense. And, as an illustration of how different that can be, if you, and you may have seen some of these images before, but if you look at the image that's on the left side of the screen, some of you may see a young lady, some may see a more mature lady. The more mature lady is more looking at us, and the younger lady is looking away from us. If you look at the image in the lower right-hand corner, some of you, may see a duck, others may see a rabbit. The rabbit's looking to the right. If we're seeing the duck is looking to the left. And if we're looking at the image in the top right, some of you may see the word good, and some of you may see the word evil. We all see things just a little bit differently. And there's power in that because a collection of minds generates at times some of the best thinking that we've got. But we also have to recognize when we look at something, we may not look at it the same way that someone else might. So we all see things a little bit differently. So this is an interesting scene. Obviously, there's something that's not exactly occurring under control. We have an elephant that appears to be moving throughout the street that's in front of the structures to the left. There's lots of hints in terms of whether this is a purposeful excursion or not a purposeful excursion. And if we took time to kind of go around and say, what did you see first? What did you see second? In terms of objective facts, we would find that, someone might have seen something first that you didn't see first, or you didn't see at all. Someone may have seen the darts that are in the back of the elephant, which leads us to a conclusion that someone is perhaps trying to get the elephant under control. Someone may have noticed the detail and the signs that are in the structure that's in the back, the Lee and the Wrangler and the Magma. You might have noticed the individual in the bottom right-hand corner that has the, sort of kitchen tablecloth sort of look in terms of the head dressing that that particular individual has on. When we look at something, we just see something different than what other people might see. And it's because we all have our own way of looking at a particular image. And it can be a work of art. It can be a picture like this, which is actually a work of art, or it can be our workstation at work. Now I'm going to show you just a couple rather busy slides, but I just want to highlight a couple things about them. The triangle that you're looking at is a triangle that was developed by the Toledo Museum of Art called the Art of Seeing Art. And the point of the triangle is a couple things. Number one, it's upside down because we always want to begin by taking the broadest perspective we can take. And, we can think of things that happen that we call poor situational awareness because we didn't take that broad perspective. So we always want to take the broadest perspective possible and then begin to look down at a level of detail by looking, observing, and then seeing detail that really tells us what the story is. That detail feeds the comprehending piece, but because if we see detail, we can describe it. If we can describe it, we can analyze it. If we can analyze it, we can interpret it. So the whole seeing process can sort of be captured in moving down the left side of the triangle and up the right side of the triangle. And then what we do with it is really at the top of the triangle. And that's where we end up taking the action that we need to take. So I want you to remember two things from this. Begin with the broadest perspective, work your way to the detail. And you have the best opportunity in doing that to be able to really see what's there. Now, I'm sure most of you are familiar with fast brain, slow brain. We can also, or system one, system two thinking. We can also make a connection between fast brain, slow brain by differentiating between the top of the triangle and the bottom of the triangle. At the top of the triangle, we're looking and we're just in automatic mode and we just move throughout our day without really giving thought to it. That's not bad. If we didn't have a fast brain function, we couldn't function. We would be overwhelmed by what's around us. And in fact, some would say that we spend 90% of our activity in fast brain mode and only maybe as little as 10% in slow brain mode. But the important thing is when we're about to execute a critical task, maybe we're going to do some sort of a risk assessment or a hazard identification or a maintenance assessment. We want to do that in slow brain because that's our most analytical portion of our brain activity. So we have to remember to sort of downshift and use the task as the trigger to say, okay, I got to make sure I'm not in fast brain mode so I can be more effective in the task that I'm creating, that I'm doing. And if we take that same triangle and we think about it in terms of hazard identification, the left side of the triangle is all about what we see. And what we're looking for from a safety perspective is we're looking for the hazard. The right side of the triangle is all about what it means. And typically for us, that's our risk assessment. That's how we're determining the significance of what it is that we've discovered. And the top of the triangle ends up being the action that we end up taking. So that's the important things about the art of seeing art and how it translates to the work that we do. Now, in the elements of art are color, lines, shapes, space, and texture. If we leverage those elements of art, we can begin to decompose the image into those elements of art. So if we begin with color, we might begin with looking for green. And if we look only for green, all of a sudden we're seeing, there's a lot of plants and bushes and things that are in this particular image that I didn't really notice before. And because we're looking for color, we're automatically not looking at it the same way that we might normally do. And as a result, we see things a little bit differently. Likewise with lines. I mean, there is a lot of lines in this image. This doesn't even begin to capture all of them that are there. But if we begin by looking for lines and seeing where lines lead us, we begin to pay attention to lots of other things. Same way with shapes. I know in this resolution, it's a little difficult to see, but this triangle in the center, there's a pyramid in the background that our workshop participants, about half of the participants don't see the pyramid until they start to look for shapes. In this case, looking for triangles. But we'll see the same thing with squares, rectangles, circles, you name it, we start to pay attention to other things. Same way with space, same way with texture. So the key here is that we're leveraging this tool to be able to break out of our normal way of thinking. It's almost like the game show. Using lines, when I look for lines, what is it do I see and where do lines